Sagittarius, you're battling teen conflicts. Unlock Zodiac harmony now. There are moments when your home feels less like a sanctuary and more like a battlefield. Words flare like sparks, doors slam, and the silence that follows feels heavier than any storm. As a Sagittarius woman, you've always believed in freedom, in letting your children explore, make mistakes, and learn their truth. But when your teenager's defiance cuts through your optimism, something in you trembles. You wonder when love began to sound like argument, when laughter turned to distance. You've always been the philosopher of the Zodiac, the one who seeks meaning, who teaches through kindness and belief. Yet lately your fire feels scattered, dimmed by exhaustion and worry. Their rebellion feels personal, their withdrawal a quiet rejection. And as you stand in the middle of this chaos, one foot still in motherhood, the other reaching for your own midlife healing, you may feel torn between holding on and letting go. The truth, dear Sagittarius, is that these clashes are not signs of failure. They are sacred mirrors, reflections of your own transformation and your child's. The same Jupiter energy that once fueled your adventures now invites you to expand your definition of love, to see conflict not as something to avoid, but as a cosmic dialogue between two souls learning how to grow together in freedom. It's no coincidence that this tension has surfaced now. Midlife for the Sagittarius mother is a time of reckoning, a Jupiter return, a spiritual checkpoint where honesty becomes healing. The universe is asking, can you stay open even when misunderstood? Can you guide without controlling, love without demanding, and trust without fear? When you pause long enough to listen beyond the shouting, you'll hear what's really being said. A young spirit asking to be seen, and an older one learning to soften. Both yearning for connection, both afraid of losing it. This chapter of your life isn't about discipline. It's about alignment. It's about remembering that you and your child are not at war, but on parallel quests for truth. And in that shared seeking, Sagittarius, lies your greatest opportunity to turn conflict into compassion and chaos into cosmic harmony. Chapter 1: The Fire of Conflict. When love meets resistance. It often begins with something small. A comment about homework, a curfew reminder, a quiet sigh at the dinner table. But for reasons you can't quite explain, it ignites into something larger. Voices rise, eyes roll, and your Sagittarius heart, once filled with laughter and light, feels scorched by misunderstanding. You used to be so close. Now, even simple conversations feel like walking through smoke. Sagittarius is a fire sign, fueled by freedom and truth. You've always wanted your children to think independently, to question the world, to chase meaning. Yet when your teen does exactly that, only louder, bolder, and with less kindness, it can shake your spirit. You recognize yourself in them. The passion, the stubbornness, the hunger for autonomy. But instead of admiration, it triggers frustration. It's as if the universe has mirrored your fire back to you, demanding you learn how to wield it differently. Beneath the arguments lies a deep love. Fierce, protective, and sometimes afraid. You fear losing your influence, your place in their growing world. You grieve the tenderness that once came so easily. The bedtime stories, the hugs that lingered. Now connection feels like chasing light through clouds. The Sagittarius mother, who once thrived on adventure, begins to question her compass. The emotional exhaustion of daily clashes, the sting of slammed doors, can lead to quiet burnout and even midlife sadness. And yet, this tension isn't just yours. Across the globe, over 200,000 participants in recent studies reported a steep decline in young adults' emotional flourishing. Today's teenagers, despite being more connected online, are lonelier, more anxious, more uncertain than ever. In the US, where individualism reigns, family dialogues often dissolve into silence. In parts of Europe, where community ties remain stronger, adolescent support has still dropped to 68%. Everywhere, families are struggling to bridge invisible emotional divides. For Sagittarius women, these statistics feel personal, not because you failed, but because you feel everything deeply. You sense collective pain woven into your own home. You see your child's defiance as more than mood swings. You sense their confusion, their search for meaning in a chaotic world. And sometimes you absorb it, as guilt, as worry, as self-blame. But here's the truth. Conflict doesn't mean love has vanished. It means transformation is underway. Fire by nature destroys and purifies. In astrology, every confrontation is an invitation for growth, A cosmic nudge from Jupiter, asking you to evolve your way of loving. Perhaps your teen's rebellion is simply mirroring your own unspoken longing for freedom. The parts of you that still crave adventure, that feel confined by responsibility. To heal, begin by observing rather than reacting. The next time your teen's words spark anger, imagine yourself as the archer of your sign. Bow steady, breath deep, eyes on truth rather than emotion. Your goal isn't to shoot back but to see clearly. What is their pain trying to express? What lesson is the universe offering through this moment? It's also vital to acknowledge your own fatigue. Constant emotional labor can dull even Sagittarius' legendary optimism. Give yourself permission to rest, to cry, to step outside for air when the walls feel tight. Your inner fire doesn't have to roar. It can flicker softly and still illuminate. This phase, though messy, holds sacred potential. These storms are not meant to destroy your bond, but to reshape it, to turn control into trust, correction into communication, and exhaustion into evolution. Every argument is a rehearsal for love that matures. And in those rare, quiet moments after the storm, when you catch a glimpse of your child's softer gaze, or hear the familiar warmth in their laughter, you'll know the truth. The connection was never lost. It was only learning how to grow up just like they are. The fire between you and your teen is not a punishment. It is the forge where new understanding takes form. And Jupiter, patient and vast, reminds you, the light will return stronger, wiser, and more expansive than before. Chapter 2: Jupiter's Guidance. Turning confrontation into conversation. There comes a point when shouting no longer serves its purpose, when the echo of your words lingers in the air, heavy with regret. In that pause, Sagittarius, you begin to sense something deeper. That what your teenager truly needs is not correction but connection. The cosmos has been preparing you for this shift. Jupiter, your ruling planet, stands for wisdom, expansion, and truth. Not the kind of truth that insists on being right, but the truth that listens, that sees beyond the surface. Your relationship with your teen is evolving because you are evolving. When Jupiter returns to its position from your birth, an event that happens roughly every 12 years, it often marks a profound cycle of reevaluation. In midlife, this can manifest as a calling to re-examine your beliefs about parenting, communication, and freedom. The universe is asking you to move from reaction to reflection, from control to compassion. Think of every argument as a cosmic classroom. When your teen rebels, they are not rejecting you. They are testing the boundaries of their own becoming. Sagittarius energy thrives on exploration, and so does theirs. They are learning who they are by challenging you. What feels like defiance is often a search for truth, just expressed in a stormier language. Your task isn't to extinguish that fire, but to help it burn more wisely. Imagine approaching confrontation the way you'd approach archery, the sacred art of your sign. The first rule: steady your stance. Before responding, breathe deeply. Let Jupiter's expansive energy widen your perspective. Then focus your aim. Ask yourself what outcome you truly desire. Peace, understanding, mutual respect, and speak only from that intention. Finally, release with grace. Once your words are spoken, let go of control over how they land. Trust that love, like an arrow guided by faith, will find its mark in time. You can even align your conversations with the cosmos. When Mercury, the planet of communication, moves direct, it's an ideal window for heart-to-heart talks. During waxing moons, emotions open. During waning moons, healing begins. If your teen feels tense, choose evenings under softer lunar light to talk. When the energy is more reflective, less reactive, the sky can become your silent ally, helping you time your truth with care. In practice, this might sound like saying, "I can see you're upset, can we talk when we're both calm?" Or, "I know you want your space. I just want you to know I love you, even when we disagree." Sagittarius wisdom knows that honesty is never about control. It's about clarity. You were born to seek higher understanding, and this includes understanding those you love most. When you begin to see your teen not as opposition, but as a mirror of your own youthful fire, compassion naturally replaces judgment. Let's imagine a mother named Liana, a 49-year-old Sagittarius with a teenage son who's been pulling away. They fought constantly about grades, about screens, about curfews. But during her Jupiter return, she began journaling each argument as if it were a conversation with herself. What did his anger reflect in her? Often it was her own unspoken frustration, her wish for recognition, her fear of being left behind. The more she listened with her heart instead of her defenses, the more her son softened too. One evening after a long silence he said, "Mom, I like it when we just talk like this." That's the gift Jupiter offers. Not instant harmony but perspective. The wisdom to understand that every conflict is a doorway to greater intimacy if you dare to walk through it. And even when your teen resists, Jupiter asks you to trust in timing. Seeds of love take root quietly. Growth happens beneath the surface. So the next time tension rises, imagine Jupiter's golden light encircling you both, expanding your patience, illuminating empathy. Let this mantra guide you. I don't need to be right. I just need to be real. Because in truth, the Sagittarius journey has never been about taming chaos. It's about finding meaning within it. And as you learn to speak from wisdom instead of fear, you'll notice something subtle but beautiful. The walls begin to soften, the distance begins to close, and a new kind of harmony begins to bloom. One built not on obedience, but on mutual respect. Your home becomes what Jupiter always promised. Not a battlefield, but a sanctuary for growth, laughter, and rediscovery. Chapter 3: Healing the Nervous Fire. Herbs, Rituals, and Emotional Regulation. Sagittarius is a fire sign, warm, passionate, and full of life, but even fire needs tending. When it burns too fiercely, it can consume instead of illuminate. After weeks or months of clashing with your teen, your spirit may feel charred, your body weary, your mind restless at night. The flame that once symbolized enthusiasm may now flicker with anxiety. And yet, Sagittarius, your healing begins the moment you choose to soften your fire. Not extinguish it, but guide it with grace. Every argument leaves an imprint on your nervous system. It's why your shoulders tense before a conversation even begins. Why your breath shortens when you sense resistance. Jupiter's energy expands everything it touches, including emotions, so your feelings often surge like waves, powerful and consuming. To reclaim balance, you must learn the sacred art of cooling your inner blaze. Start by inviting stillness into your mornings. Before checking messages or rushing into the day, light a small candle and gaze into its flame. Let it symbolize both your strength and your sensitivity. Whisper softly, "My fire heals, not harms." Then close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine that same flame shrinking into a steady glow within your chest. Calm, centered, eternal. Herbal allies can become gentle companions on this path. As a fire sign, your element benefits from soothing herbs that ease tension and support emotional clarity. Sip chamomile tea in the evenings to release built-up irritability. Add lemon balm to calm racing thoughts and sleeplessness. Passionflower tea can soften anger into acceptance, while holy basil, sacred to Jupiter, restores your sense of divine perspective. For daytime renewal, rosemary strengthens both memory and courage, reminding you that love requires both heart and patience. You might also create a Sagittarius calming ritual for evenings after conflict. Fill your bath with warm water and a few drops of lavender oil. Sprinkle a pinch of sea salt for purification, then add dried rose petals or calendula for compassion. As you soak, imagine washing away all words that no longer serve you. The sharp ones, the defensive ones, the unspoken ones. With every exhale, release tension. With every inhale, invite peace. When you rise, let the water carry away the heaviness, leaving your energy light and receptive. If you prefer simplicity, even a short breathing practice can restore your balance. Inhale deeply for a count of 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. This gentle pattern signals safety to your nervous system, telling your body it no longer needs to fight. Do this before speaking with your teen. It turns reactivity into responsiveness. Sagittarius women often heal best through movement. When emotions tighten, take a long walk outdoors. Let the rhythm of your steps ground your thoughts. The sky, your eternal companion, will remind you of perspective, that this conflict is only one constellation in a much larger cosmic sky. You were born to move, to explore, to release energy through expansion. Movement becomes your meditation, your reset button, your return to peace. Don't underestimate the medicine of sound and scent. Play gentle instrumental music during tense evenings. Let notes of flute or piano weave calm through the atmosphere. Burn a little sandalwood or frankincense, both associated with Jupiter, to cleanse emotional clutter from your space. Scents travel straight to memory, and sometimes, A home that smells peaceful helps hearts remember what peace feels like. And above all, forgive yourself for the moments you've lost your temper. Sagittarius carries the weight of self-blame heavily. Your open heart wants to get it right. But healing doesn't mean perfection, it means presence. Every deep breath, every gentle word, every pause before reacting is an act of sacred repair. When you begin caring for your nervous system, you notice something miraculous. Your energy changes the atmosphere of your home. Your teen may still be moody or distant, but your steadiness becomes an anchor. They sense your calm, your non-judgment, your quiet strength. And slowly, their walls begin to lower. Because healing the family doesn't start with controlling others. It begins with regulating your own light. And as your fire steadies, your voice softens, your eyes shine differently. You start to embody what Jupiter teaches best. Wisdom without force, warmth without burn, truth without judgment. Soon, conflict feels less like crisis and more like conversation. The same fire that once fueled arguments now fuels understanding. You remember and they feel. That love was always there, waiting beneath the noise. Chapter 4, From Clash to Connection. Rebuilding trust and freedom together. As the flames of conflict begin to settle into a steady glow, something tender stirs within you. A longing not just to keep peace, but to rebuild genuine connection. For the Sagittarius woman, love was never meant to be confined. It thrives on authenticity, laughter, shared meaning. Yet somewhere along the path of parenting and growing older, that ease became entangled with expectation. Now, in this sacred midlife season, Jupiter calls you back to your natural rhythm. Freedom through understanding, connection through truth. Rebuilding trust with your teen doesn't require perfection. It begins with presence. Let go of the need to fix everything and instead focus on being there. Sometimes that means sitting beside them quietly while they scroll through their world. Sometimes it's a text that simply says, "Thinking of you." No pressure to talk. It's in these gentle gestures, not the lectures or rules, that healing begins. The Sagittarius heart connects best when it feels real, spontaneous, and warm. Start by creating shared rituals that invite lightness back into your home. Plan a small cosmic night once a week, just you and your teen. Step outside, look up at the stars, and talk about life without agenda. Let Jupiter's vast sky remind you both that perspective heals. You can even use this as a gateway to deeper conversations. When I was your age, I thought the world was smaller. What does it feel like for you? These open-ended, philosophical dialogues tap into your natural Sagittarian strength. Teaching not through control, but through curiosity. The more you allow yourself to listen, the more your child begins to trust your presence. Teens often test love because they need to be sure it's safe, that your affection won't vanish when they challenge your beliefs. Jupiter teaches unconditional expansion, to hold space large enough for another's growth without losing your own. When you embody this, your home becomes a sanctuary again. Not because everyone agrees, but because everyone feels seen. Across generations and cultures, this kind of reconnection carries immense healing power. In recent years, research across Europe and the US has shown that both parents and teens report rising loneliness and disconnection. Yet families who intentionally carve out meaning moments, shared laughter, collaborative projects, open conversations, experience stronger emotional well-being. For Sagittarius women who are naturally seekers of truth, this isn't just data, it's destiny. Your spirit was built to bridge distances. Try simple creative bonds that match your energy. Make a travel vision board together, real or digital, of places you both dream of exploring. Create a playlist that blends your favorite songs with theirs. A musical dialogue of generations. If they love technology, ask them to show you their world, their favorite apps, creators, or online communities, not to judge but to understand. The more you approach with curiosity, the less you'll find resistance. Sagittarius energy heals through shared adventure, even if that adventure begins at the kitchen table. Remember, too, that you are not just repairing a relationship with your child, you are healing your relationship with yourself as a mother. Release the old story that peace depends solely on their behavior. It depends on your energy, your openness, your willingness to stay loving even when the outcome is uncertain. Every small reconnection, a smile, a shared joke, a peaceful evening, is proof that love evolves, never disappears. You can also practice a Jupiter visualization to strengthen the bond between you and your teen. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and imagine a golden sphere of light expanding from your heart to theirs. This light doesn't cling or control. It flows freely, connecting both of you through unconditional love. Whisper inwardly, I trust our journey. I release fear. I expand through love. Visualize that light surrounding your family, filling your home with warmth, patience, and understanding. And beyond your family, remember to reconnect with your own tribe. Friends, mentors, women walking the same path. Many Sagittarius mothers heal deeply through community. Join online groups or healing circles where stories are shared honestly and laughter is medicine. These new bonds replenish what domestic tensions deplete. When your spirit is nourished, your patience returns. Over time, you'll notice something subtle but profound. The distance softens. Conversations flow again. Laughter sneaks back into the room like sunlight through blinds. You begin to realize that freedom, your lifelong pursuit, has found a new form. It's not about escaping or controlling. It's about loving with spaciousness. It's about trusting that your child, like you, is guided by a higher rhythm. And so, Sagittarius, your story turns. What began as conflict becomes communion. The archer lowers her bow, not in defeat but in peace. Her arrows of truth have already flown. Now she watches them find their mark, carried by faith rather than force. You are no longer battling your child. You are walking beside them, not as the authority but as the wise companion. Together, you are learning what Jupiter has always taught, that love expands when it's allowed to breathe. From discord to divine understanding. When the noise fades and the house settles into stillness, there's a quiet truth that emerges. One that only time, love, and cosmic patience can reveal. You begin to see that every argument, every slammed door, every tear shed in frustration was not chaos without purpose but initiation. The universe was teaching you how to love wider, deeper, and freer than before. Sagittarius, you are the seeker, the philosopher of the Zodiac. Even in conflict, your soul yearns to find meaning. And now, after walking through the fires of misunderstanding, you've found it. Love is not about control or perfection. It is about presence, the willingness to stand in the storm with an open heart, trusting that the winds are shaping both you and your child into wiser versions of yourselves. The tension that once felt unbearable has become your teacher. Through it, you've discovered your own strength, your ability to pause instead of react, to listen instead of command. You've learned that compassion can be fiercer than anger, and silence can be more powerful than shouting. In those quiet moments after an argument, when your breath slows and you whisper a prayer for peace, you are practicing sacred alchemy, transforming fire into light. You now understand that parenting teenagers is not about keeping control but keeping connection. It's about seeing the divine within your child even when they cannot see it themselves. And it's about forgiving yourself for every outburst, every word spoken in haste, every moment you doubted your worth as a mother. Jupiter reminds you that growth is never linear. It spirals, expanding with each lesson, each apology, each new sunrise. There will still be days when tension returns, because both you and your teen are still becoming. But now you know how to meet those moments differently. You know how to breathe, how to ground, how to choose love over ego. You know how to turn confrontation into conversation, and how to find grace in imperfection. Look at how far you've come. You've transformed anger into awareness, rebellion into relationship, exhaustion into wisdom. The fire within you no longer burns wildly. It glows steadily. A hearth of warmth your family can always return to. So under tonight's sky, as Jupiter watches from above, place a hand on your heart and speak softly. I release what was. I honor what is. I open to what will be. Let that be your mantra, your offering, your promise. Because you are not the woman who lost herself in conflict. You are the one who found herself through it. The archer has learned not just to aim outward, but inward toward truth, patience, and boundless love. And as you look at your child, taller now, stronger, still learning, you see not defiance but reflection. Two souls on parallel paths, both guided by the same cosmic teacher. Jupiter, the planet of faith, freedom, and forgiveness. You smile, breathe deeply, and realize, the war has ended. What remains is love, spacious, imperfect, eternal. And in that love, dear Sagittarius, harmony has already begun.